Hi friends, good afternoon. I am back in the eucalyptus forest, which right now feels very soothing after the last few miles I just had. I went over a very long high bridge that I am very proud of. It was very busy with a lot of traffic. It's a main interstate here, so it was very busy with a lot of traffic, and I did it. So I'm very proud of that. And then right after, they had that main thoroughfare shut down for construction. Interesting how in Minnesota we always talk about two seasons, construction and winter. And here I don't know what their seasons are, but they have construction. Anyway, that construction sent the traffic through the Camino route. So for the last, let's say 2-ish miles or so, I went through those windy small road neighborhoods that I've showed you photos of many times. I didn't take any photos this time because I couldn't. I was with that traffic the entire time and going uphill, and it was all the things. What I'm finding interesting, and then we'll get to the spiritual lessons in Blisters. What I'm finding interesting is that even these days that are short, 10 miles is a fairly short day, there's always something else to kind of counter that shortness. So the long days, the long mileage days, those seem to be just fairly, and this is a blanket statement, but they seem to have been fairly flat, boring, basic, some hills, but like going through beautiful forest for half of it or whatever it is, And on the handful of shorter days that I've had, there have been things that make it, shall we just say, more interesting. Keeping it interesting rather than just, this easy little breeze by nugget. So that's an interesting thing that I'm noticing, is how they all even out in the end. And I'm sure today part of it is a different plan for my feet. I'm trying something different. I'm not completely sold on this plan going forward. So we're going to explore another plan for tomorrow. We'll see what that includes. Meanwhile, spiritual lessons on Blisters. So there's a book by Louise Hay, who she is the founder of Hay House. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Hay House, but some of my favorite authors are authors with the Hay House publication company. I think she started that company for spiritual-based authors, essentially, is what it has become known for. In her late 50s, early 60s, I think it might have been when she was 62 years old, which is so inspiring to me because it turned into, such a well-known spiritual publishing company powerhouse. And she started it at 62, I think. And that's just incredibly inspiring. It makes me feel like there's time for all of us to do whatever it is we're meant to do. So, Louise Hay founded that, but she was also an author in her own right. And one of the books she authored was, I think it's called Heal Your Life, or You Can Heal Your Life, or something of that nature. It's a colorful book on the outside. Yellow, red, blue, I think, is on the outside. And then on the inside, there are a couple chapters, and then it's broken down into, for lack of a better term, ailments, let's say. So she has it broken down by body part or ailment, and you can look at, from a spiritual perspective, you can look up any of those things that you're dealing with, and then kind of lean into, from a spiritual perspective, what does it mean? And then in there she also has the like the affirmation statement to go along with it that you can use as you're exploring it. So my friend Janelle also has that book, because obviously I did not bring my copy with me on the trail, but she has the book. So she looked up Blisters yesterday for me, and the spiritual perspective of Blisters is resistance, and then it said lack of emotional protection. Resistance, period. Lack of emotional protection. Now, often when something like that comes up or is presented to me or shared with me, if it resonates, something will drop in immediately. There'll be a knowing that drops in, is like, oh, yep, I can see how that shows up, right? When I read that, she texted it over. When I read it, nothing dropped in immediately, which I didn't choose to dismiss. I choose to explore and consider. And so I'm in the process of kind of exploring that. Like, what is it in my life that I'm resisting? Or where in my life am I feeling a lack of emotional protection? And that phrase itself is interesting to me, because automatically a lack of emotional protection is that, is that where I'm not protecting myself? Is that where I'm allowing, this is, I guess, two sides of the same coin, right? Am I allowing others to use my emotions in a way that isn't supportive? So that is a lack of emotional protection. Is there something else going on? Like, is it a lack of integrity around my emotions? So I'm just kind of tossing around the words and exploring, what does that mean? What does that alignment mean? When I looked it up, because, I just wanted to see, like, what does Google Guru say about lack of emotional protection? There wasn't a lot in there, but it talked about a little bit around your feeling of safety with people, certain people, your feeling of emotional safety. So can you have safe conversations? Are your emotions, if shared, safe? And so that's an interesting concept. And I'm not feeling 100% drawn to the truth in that. Although also, I know that sometimes we have blind spots, right? There's a reason why we work with coaches and therapists and have conversations with friends that are close to us and know us really well, or husbands or spouses or whomever that know us really well. There's a reason why we have some meaningful, deep conversations, because maybe they can pull out a blind spot that I can't see, that you can't see, and connecting with them and working with them helps us kind of process that a little bit and see that. So I'm bringing it to the table here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, when you hear the phrase lack of emotional protection, I want to know what comes to mind for you. What does that mean for you? What does that sound like in your world? If that comes up, like, what does that look like? Because I would love to hear some ideas and thoughts, and just toss around some ideas and jog some more deeper, meaningful conversations. The other thing then, I went back to my friend Janelle today, thank you Janelle, and asked her, can you look up feet in general? So from a chakra perspective, our feet are our roots, right? It's our grounding, it's our roots, it's our stability. And right now, other than doing a lot of walking, the stability in my business is a bit up in the air in a good way. It's a choice I made because I'm going to be doing some deeper work with a coach, which is exciting. But that's up in the air. So my work stability is up in the air. My relationship stability is not up in the air. That's as strong as it can be. It's really, really wonderful. I'm proud of what Lindsay and I have been able to create. So there's some instability, if we look at from a chakra perspective, the roots, you know, our root chakra includes our feet, and it's the grounding down into the earth. And so there's some instability. So I'm kind of exploring what that looks like and how maybe that might be playing a role in my feet. But then from the book I mentioned, Louise Hay's book, the feet means, shoot, I just had it and it walked out the door. I think it was understanding of yourself, of life, and of others. Or acceptance of, maybe it was the word acceptance. Those are different words, obviously, and words matter. It might have been acceptance of yourself, life, and others. So there are a handful of things I'm just kind of tossing around to see. You know, in my video earlier, I shared that I look at all things that come my way from a holistic perspective. I look at things as not either or. I don't look at things as all energy and all spiritual. And I don't look at things as all just this physical meat suit that we're part of. You know, I don't look at it as just blisters that maybe I need new shoes. Maybe I do need new shoes. And also being willing to explore from a spiritual perspective, maybe I'll uncover something else that gets to come forward and have some light shed on it as well, so that that can be healed. So I like to look at things from a multifaceted perspective, because we're holistic beings. And it's not just one or the other. We don't live in a vacuum of one piece, and that one piece is this next thing and then this next thing. If I pull on my fascia in my body, if I do, this is really awesome actually, you guys, seriously. If I put my thumb in my ear, pull, this is so random, I don't know why I'm showing you that. Oh, I do know, because it's all connected. Okay, so if you put your thumb in your ear, right, you pull your ear down and kind of pinch it, kind of twist and pinch it and pull it out, and then open your mouth, and then kind of move your head around and do that for, let's say, 15-20 seconds, you will feel a difference in the fascia in your feet. Not kidding. It's awesome. So I do that every day. And there's also a couple other ones that I do all the time. But point being is that the fascia in our body, if I pull on my ears, my entire fascia is connected throughout the body, right? It's all impacted. And that's the same with having a holistic approach, right? Yes, maybe it's the shoes, and also maybe it's pulling on the fascia a little bit. Maybe it's exploring what are these other instabilities in my life, and how are they contributing in some way. Maybe it's exploring, let's go back to that spiritual meaning of blisters, you know, and how they are around resistance and a lack of emotional protection. So are there areas in my life where I'm feeling a lack of emotional protection? I'm not sure. I don't feel like that's the case, but there again, maybe it's a blind spot, and you sharing with me how you define that will help me see more clearly. That's why I believe so deeply and so purely that we are not meant to do life alone. We're not meant to do life in a vacuum. We're meant to be surrounded by incredible beings, because when we do it together, we can learn and gain and grow. And I believe I'm a student of everyone, and maybe I'm a teacher of some, because I think we all have wisdom that we can share when we show up. So that's my conversation as I walk through. Let me show you this forest. It's so pretty. It's the eucalyptus forest, the ferns, the smell. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm nearing the end of my day. I'm around mile 8. I have a couple miles left, and then we will reassess, see what we need to do for tomorrow to get through another day. So that's all it takes, right? It's just one day, one step at a time. If I think about the fact that I have 24 more days of walking, that feels a little overwhelming when I think about not even being halfway done yet. because today's day 16 out of 40 days. So that can be overwhelming. But if I just think, all I need to do right now is make it through the forest, and then whatever the next path is, and then to my place for tonight, and then somewhere to find food. And so thinking that way, what's the next step rather than the entire process. Martin Luther King Jr. used to say, paraphrase, that we don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. We just need the first step. That's what we're doing. We just need the first step. And as things unfold, we will make some adjustments and keep tweaking and move forward. But one thing I know for sure about me, what works for me, is that I choose to look at these as setups, not setbacks. I see this as a setup for a better experience going forward. I see this as a setup for even more open and honest and raw and real and vulnerable conversations, because part of what's been coming up for me is, what is a true pilgrim? What does a true pilgrim look like? And am I still a true pilgrim if, let's say, for example, I decide to take a bus and go find some different shoes tomorrow, and that's how I spend my tomorrow. And I won't be able to backtrack my walk because I have my plan all set up. Does that still make me a true pilgrim? And so part of these conversations that come up, I see this as a setup, not a setback, because it ushers in these open, honest, real, raw, vulnerable conversations. And I do believe that of everything I'm meant to do, that's one of the biggest things I'm meant to do, is that I am meant to just share from a place of non-judgment and from a place of compassion and kindness and grace. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, we all need and deserve compassion, kindness, and grace. And maybe that's part of that emotional protection, is that as I share more, there's some judgment that comes in. So being mindful of where and how I'm sharing and who I'm letting in. Maybe that's a piece of it. Something to explore. Anyway, friends, I hope you're having a beautiful day, however you're choosing to spend it. Remember, it is a choice. How you show up is a choice. Oh, that breeze feels amazing. I hope it's incredible. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. Bye.